All right, a little pond, northern Minnesota. There's a good hut out there, but also has some banked ends. Just a perfect run going up into the bank. There's actually a couple of them. There's another one down there. We've got
they're a lot closer to the truck than the hut.
Got a Bridger 330, 330 stand.
Yep. So yeah, these are pretty cool. You can find them online, but you know, when you're setting a run like this, it just makes it so slick. So it's a little bit shallower over there, so we're going to keep it back here a little bit and fit her in nice and tight. There's a lot of rock right here, so there you go. It's not too rocky. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do right there. I do stake them off. We're close to the truck, so it's pretty easy just to jam a T-bar there. And don't forget to take the safeties off. Both of them are off. You're gonna be pretty disappointed in the morning. Okay, so then we want them to dive down when they're going through. We're gonna find a little dive stick here.
Here's one.
There you go. So yeah, just grab a stick. Ram it right here. Kind of run her through the eye here a little bit. Stabilize it. That's pretty much all there is to it. So that's just
That's what she looks like.
Yep, 330 set in a beaver run. No lure needed.
About as easy as it gets.
Yep, so we have more 330s. We'll walk over there and check that out, see what that one looks like.
This is also easy to do when there's 3-4 inches of ice on the pond.
Yeah, if you have good clear ice, you're gonna want to walk around, look for bubble trails through the ice, and then you know it's active and stuff like that. And this one, I'm not really sure.
Doesn't look good to me. Usually if it's a real active banked end, it won't be all silty on the bottom. It'll be more sandy gravel. They'll have it.
Yeah, like this is solid, but there's a lot of silt, so we'll probably just continue going around and see what else we can find and then jump on when we find another location here.
So this pond is absolutely full of beaver by the looks of it. They have literally dug channels all over.
Yeah, like that channel right there.
I mean,
that's
that
all
is
dug by beaver. That isn't natural.
No.
This, all this going in here where they're going in.
They have, I mean, everywhere you look, there is beaver sign. They're
like aquatic dozers.
The populations are definitely healthy in this part of the world right now. All right, so one thing for you new guys, what you want to look for on a beaver hut, so you know it's active. I mean, this one is a prime example. It is absolutely covered in beaver tracks, fresh mud. But the biggest indicator that usually you can spot from ways away without having to walk out is in the fall. They'll have a big feed bed of fresh cuttings, and that is the easiest way.
Yeah, and if there's weeds growing on it, it means it's not active normal.
Yep.
That's a quick way to find out.
Yep. So if you got fresh mud on the hut and a feed bed that's fresh with little sticks and everything, not just old rotten looking stuff, you know there's beaver in there. So Luke right now is looking for a hole that comes out of the hut.
Yep, so right here we have an entrance. The reason you're gonna know is if you're walking around and you're gonna be going through slimy mud, you're gonna step onto what's a solid bottom, like when we were talking with the bank runs. You want a solid bottom, then you know it's active. And you can shove your leg in there, and we have a hole here, obviously, for an entrance. So this is what we're gonna set now, and this is the easy way to do it.
Again, it's just a 330 in the stand. Same thing that we did over in the bank den run. Just a little harder to see what you're doing, but you mostly do it by feel.
This one's nice. It's not very deep here. Some of these huts you're never going to touch the bottom with waders, and they'll be out in the middle of a pond. But yeah, show them some of these runs. You know, if we were spring beaver trapping, this is fall, but if we were spring beaver trapping, a lot of these times we won't waste our time walking around. We just set a shaft them onto one of these.
I mean, the beaver have literally dug all these runs going up to the shore, so it's a lot easier to get food. But yeah, like Luke said, come springtime, I mean, you find a spot like this, you put a MB 750 there, throw some mud up, a little bit of caster, done. And a lot of times we'll just do it right off the road where it's easy to get to. You can, you know, in and out quick, because boy, when spring is here, that caster draws them in from a long ways away.
Yep, all the younger beaver are going to be getting kicked out. They're going to be traveling around looking for new territory. And the existing beaver, we're going to have a territorial response with the caster. So that, you know, you're going to get the new beaver coming into the area, and you're going to get the existing beaver who are mad that there's you know, additional caster there. So it's kind of a double whammy.
I mean, a lot of times we won't even set on beaver sign.
Yeah.
Especially in a creek or a river setting with those young beaver out moving around getting kicked out. We'll literally just set, you know, random spots that we know there are likely beaver around, but definitely you don't have to have a hut within sight to catch beaver in the spring.
So here we got the stand, we got the 330 set up, and I know my run's right here, so I'm going to get it where it pinches it in, where they're funneled the tightest. I'm just going to poke it right in there. And when you're doing something like this, it's just going to be a lot of feeling around with your foot, so we know they're coming out right here. There's a lot of sticks right here we're kind of trying to deal with. Just like that. I just kind of want to get it stabilized a little better here. Okay, so just like that's all there is to it. Safeties are off, double check that. And another way you could do it, even in the fall, you can still use a caster lure. You kind of go where it's pinched down in an area like a V shape, or put logs up. You don't have to worry about pinching these beavers too much with guide sticks, but you could run a foothold in Minnesota. Make sure it's legal in your state to be setting on the huts. We can't tamper with the huts, but we can set on them. So you just put a foothold there, or somewhere where it's pinched in tight, and just have either a sliding wire or like a Haig's bracket on a fiberglass rod, or a rebar rod with the grounder. That's a good way to do it.
All right, on to the next pond. All right, guys, here's a prime example of a fresh feed bed, so you know the hut is active. Also, all this fresh mud just tells you there's a lot of beaver here. All right, so I'm gonna do a little 750 action here. We're just on the side of the hut, and there's a nice kind of flat spot. We're a couple inches under the water there.
Yep, so we got MB750. Here's a fiberglass Haig's drowning rod with the lock.
I mean, those things are an absolute lifesaver.
So how it works, you leave the lock hooked up on the chain all times. When you get to the location, you're just going to slide it on like this way. Okay, so then when they slide down, they can't come up like that. And then you're just going to run a T-bar at top. And for the bottom, you only need one T-bar. That's what's awesome about these. They go out. Find a place to shove it in good. Like that. You're going to take your rebar stake. It's a little hard with all the logs here to find a good one. There, just shove it in, but.
All right, so you run the stake in out deep, and then we just put the end, just a regular old T-stake.
Yeah.
And kind of got a little bit of a funnel coming up here. I mean, it doesn't really take much.
No, and it's not like a coyote. You know, coyote, you put all this, you know, kind of funneling them in, and they're just gonna leave. Beaver don't give a crap. Like, everything in their life's a big wooden funnel. So yeah, we got our MB750 here. Just want to make sure the drowning lock, there's nothing obstructing its way down. And then here, we're just gonna kind of clean out some of the sticks here. And just get us a nice place to bed the trap. Sometimes on these huts, it's a little hard to get them solid. Okay, and then I could use caster, like we said before, to kind of get like a territorial response. But we're gonna go with the food lure on this one. So this is Caven's Bounty Beaver. Great food lure. And we're just gonna take a little stick, pop it in there, and just throw it up there. And I like to keep it a little higher. I want to make them go through. I don't want them stopping before they go over the trap. And then, yeah, I got some fresh peeled bark here.
Just kind of little eye appeal.
Yep. In the spring we'd always run a caster mount here. We wouldn't screw with a food lure. But fall is a good time for these food lures. So, and it's kind of 50-50. Some guys will run food lures in the fall, and some guys will run casters. So try them both and see what works best for you. Then right here, it's pretty shallow here, pretty shallow there. It's hard to see with the camera, especially since we're losing daylight. But there is a run going into the hut right here.
And we're just going to do the same thing we did at the last location. 330, a stand, and off we go.
Yeah.
Real simple, quick and easy. You don't have to overthink beaver.
Yep.
All right, so I'm on a hut right here. There's obviously runs coming out this back side. You can see there's quite a bit of deep water. And right here is where we're gonna set. They're coming over this shallow area here. And then we have the feed bed out on this side. And I'm sure there's runs coming out in this stuff and over there, but this is one of them floating bog ponds, and who knows how deep it is. I mean, it's just one of them ponds with endless mud bottom.
Yeah.
So
after we set this, we're just gonna, all this is a blind set here that we're doing. We're not gonna, no lure or anything. And we're just gonna poke it right here. Now I notice the trigger's on the bottom here. That way it's harder to see, because that'll be underwater and it leaves a bigger opening for them. So we're just gonna pop this, find a place to pop it in here. Just like that. We're gonna end up wiring it off to that log here because there's no stability or anything here. So So we are going to wire the 330 off. We're gonna have to find some more stuff here to, so this is gonna be kind of our dive stick just to help blend it in. And we're gonna have to find some sticks here to stabilize it. And you guys don't need to buy, you don't need the stands or anything for the 330s. Just going through the springs just like this, and to stabilize it works good too. But if it's deeper, the stands definitely speed things up, but it's not a necessity, especially if you're getting started. You're better off just buying more traps. Yeah, and these floating bogs are hard to work with. There's no bottom. It's just water underneath this pretty much. So trying to stabilize stuff,
that's where
can be a pain.
Wiring your trap off is pretty nice too, because a regular old tea stake, you're never going to find anything.
Does nothing
to hold. So just grab some wire, and I mean, we'll go right around one of these
whatever we find that's solid,
and that's all. Let's do it. So real simple, easy set. It's just a little neck down crossover coming around the hut, and so let's do her.
Yeah, like I said in the coon trapping videos, anytime you can get away, whether you're mink trapping, beaver trapping, coon trapping, anytime you can just get away with just doing a blind set, do it, because if you're running lure or some kind of bait, they have to be curious about it to commit to the set. Here, we're just going into their natural habitat. We're just dropping a trap where they normally travel, and we're not, they don't even know we're here. Where if you have some kind of lure or bait, then you're making them curious, and then they're gonna think more about it. So anytime you can do a blind set, definitely do it. Okay guys, so our last set's right there, as you can see. Right here, I'm going to kind of show you how to do a caster mount. This is extremely effective in the spring. More so in my opinion than the fall, but it'll definitely get the job done here. So we're just going to find an area like right here where it's pinched down. We're going to get our trap in a narrow area. Now, for Minnesota state law, we have to be 50% or more in the water. So as you can see, our spring eyes, they're underwater. So that means we're over 50%. Like, as you can tell, this floating bog, it just, no matter where you step, it just sinks. We were gonna do it coming out of the hut. It's impossible as far as even trying to feel the bottom here. It's really deep, where you actually get to solid ground. But yeah, we got our stand in there. We're just gonna run. See, look, it just goes forever. We're gonna run some more sticks in there, stabilize the 330 a bit better.
It's real nice when you can find these narrow runs where they've been coming up, because a lot of times it's honestly absolutely perfect size for a 330, and there's no digging, nothing. You just throw it in there. They could come from either side here, so we kind of built up just a little bit of a block so they don't come up here to the caster or come over that side. It's just a nice easy funnel. And
yeah, and some of these sets, they just look stupid with how you block them in. It doesn't matter, it's just a beaver, so don't overcomplicate. It's not a K9 set, so we're just gonna put some grass there. You can kind of just shove some grass into this spring eye, and it really doesn't take much to funnel these guys. So yeah, and then once we turn off the camera, we'll wire our chain. We're gonna have to, behind you there's a really good sized log. We're almost just gonna use that as try and shove it in the mud. If that doesn't work, we're gonna use it as a drag. But so all we gotta do is we're just gonna take a stick here, put some caster on it. So this is Iron Trail's Log Jam. It's just a heavy caster lure, and I'm switching to caster because I want to show you how I do it. But you could also use Bounty Beaver from Cave-Ins, which we had before. We sell all this on our site, irontrailtrapline.com. But you could kind of skin off a nice like popple stick or something and run a food lure. But this is all we're doing. We're just gonna have it just like that. Just some caster on a stick. You could put a caster mount, but that's more of a springtime thing. So yeah, in the spring, we just take a big gob of mud, put it there, run a foothold out deep, run a conibear, anything like that.
A lot of times in the spring too, if you see on the banks, you'll see where they kicked up and made their own caster mounds.
Yep.
And a lot of times that's where we'll set.
Yeah, and just take some of this caster, put it right on top, and then they're like, oh, somebody else has been here. So
yep,
definitely
they get territorial, and
yep.
It's an easy way to find a good place to set because they're already using it.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, this is all we're gonna put here. Just 2 sets. It's not a very big hut. So okay, guys, we're off the road. We walked down the creek a little bit. We're just looking. It's otter season in Minnesota, like we said before. We're just looking for a place where the creek funnels in a pinch point. And this is the narrowest area we found. So this is all existing. We worked it down, took our safeties off, and it's pretty solid, but we're just gonna use with what we have here to continue to stabilize it and also blend it in. So working in this solid creek bottom is way easier than working in that floating bog we were in previously today. So yeah, we just get a couple there, finish stabilizing it. And then we're just gonna work some stuff in to kind of. I didn't paint these traps before we came. These are new traps, but that's okay. They'll rust here pretty quick, and I'm not worried about it. Some guys overcomplicate their trap prep, and I clearly don't overcomplicate it. Maybe I should a little bit more, but they won't notice. So yeah, we're just gonna keep poking stuff in, fence them off. That's all there is to it. It's nice if you can be in an area where it's an existing pinch point like this. It doesn't take much. So that's all we're doing.
Quick and easy.
Yep.
Another thing to remember, I mean, this is a small creek here, but man, it just does not take a lot of water when it's moving like this to have otter traveling up and down it. It's surprising what they will travel in.
Yep.
So
sure.
Again, we brought a T-post here, and we're just gonna wire that off since we finally have a good solid bottom again, and
yep.
Call her a day.
Check her tomorrow, see what we have. Cool.
Well, as you guys can see, things look a little different than they did yesterday when we set this. One nice part about getting a little bit of ice like this, as you can see, there's open water right here and going out that way. So there's definitely an entrance to that den right there. And we had a miss.
Yep. And we'll probably move it over to the open spot.
Yep. We'll scoot it over to that run right there, because that one looks like it's seeing the most action. All right, here is the foothold.
Yep, so we're at our second location we set yesterday, and this is where we used Cave-In's Bounty Beaver lure. Remember how we had a little stick there? We're going for a food lure. And our trap is gone, so we're gonna pull her up, see what we got here. And there's a little guy.
A wee little lad.
Yep. So, yeah, these, you know, like I was telling you yesterday, these hags are awesome. You just poke them in, and to pull them up, you don't have to get in, reach deep in the water. You just pull them up, take the beaver out, and then reset it. So that's the first beaver of our trip here. We're just up here for a couple days. It's deer opener day. That's why we're in Orange today. So, okay, guys, we're at the next location, and look at this. This is really cool. There's cranberries out here.
Some little nibbles here.
Yeah. So, between sets, we take some snack breaks. Is that caster mount we did yesterday? That one's empty. Right here is the blind set we put in. Right there, right behind the head, just perfect catch. We got decent sized beaver. Pop him out of here and reset it. Yeah, like I was saying before, these blind sets are the way to do it if you have a good location for them. Okay guys, check number 2 here. We don't have the trap here. Take a look. We're pulling today. Got to get home and ship some traps. Looks like we're kind of tangled up, which is a good sign. We have a little weight at the end. Look at that.
A little bit better than the one yesterday,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Heck of a lot better than the one yesterday. So, yeah, decent beaver. So this is that food lure set again. We got our 330 right here. Throw her up there and let her dry up a little bit before I start carrying. And she's empty. Well, we'll continue down the road and see what else we have today.